Right. Welcome back to Listen Up. It's my turn. My first guest of the season is my dear friend, Suzanne Schweikert. I'd like to welcome her to the show. How are you?
I am good, Miss Feeney. How are you?
I'm great. You're probably even better because this is your first year into retirement. How long have you taught or did you teach?
Well, I had 31 years of service, so very long time.
Wow, that is incredible.
Kindergarten and second grade.
Kindergarten, second grade. So you got a little bit of taste of two different grades at the primary school.
Yes.
And when you look back at those two grades, which grade do you think was the most challenging and why? Even though they both have challenges, was there one that was more challenging?
So definitely kindergarten. Definitely. Kindergarten is the hardest grade, and you can probably attest to that too, because you were at the high school level. But kindergarten is the hardest because they are young and they have no attention span. And you're there full day of school, no playtime, no rest time. It is hit the door running. I mean, I think a lot of people think we color all day, and we don't. It's very academic. And
Things really changed. I mean,
things have
I
changed.
I I taught kindergarten for 15 years. I went to the high school for 10. Now I'm back with K to 2, and there have been so many changes. When I taught, we had rest, we had
Right.
playtime. That is not the case anymore. So
No,
I think it's so academic these days, and I feel as if the kids need a little bit of a break. Wouldn't you say?
absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing with kindergarten. And that's why it's so hard because you may teach a lesson, but then after 10 or 15 minutes, especially at the beginning of the year, you have to do something else. You have to get them up and out of their seats and on the carpet and move around the room because they can't sit that long. They're not used to sitting, and it is very difficult. You got to keep them moving. I mean, there's no time to breathe. And if you don't, you lose them. You have 24 kids in the class and you have to keep them going. So you have to be on your toes all the time. So it's definitely harder.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
I totally agree. Now, since I'm back teaching STEM and I have K1 and 2, I noticed immediately last year how things have changed. And I remember the neediness of the children. They could not do much independently and needed me at all times.
Right. Right. It's easy to forget, but oh, once you have them, you remember.
You remember.
It takes all year to mold those kids and you get them right where you want them. And then you send them off to first grade. And then it's like, that's starting all over.
It does, and it's funny that you bring that up because there was a, first grade teacher today who was kindergarten last year who said that, she really appreciates the kindergarten teachers because now being in first grade, they have come in more ready, and she knows, all that hard work that she put in and that you guys put in is, well warranted and very much appreciated because it makes their job so much easier.
Yes.
So I'm thinking about the summer. Okay. It just ended. Obviously, this was my first day of school, your kind of first day of retirement. When do you think teachers start feeling like the pressure that summer is coming to an end?
For me, it was always August 1st. I hated August. And I saw a clip on Instagram this summer, and it's so true. You think of June, Friday night, July, Saturday night, August, the Sunday scary. Once
Oh my
August
goodness.
hits, it's like, my God, school's around the corner. I got to get my list. I got to start writing name tags. I got to write locker tags. I got to put names on folders. I got to go buy my school back to school shopping and pick up all my supplies and got to go into school and get my room ready. And it's just like, boom, it's over. It's hard to even enjoy. It's hard to
Yeah.
even enjoy because all that anxiety, you know, how much preparation it takes to get a classroom ready. And then once you get back to school, you're back in that work mode and you don't have time to do anything except cooking and laundry, running kids to places, right? So you get worked up thinking, how am I going to have time to do this? And you do. It works out, but you're tired. But it is hard. And teachers carry work with them at night, especially
Mhm.
elementary teachers. You got to do stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
I
me, it
always
was
felt
always August. I can never stand August.
See, I always felt as soon as I went into that store and I saw all the back to school merchandise, that's when things clicked in. I don't really think it was a day or a date. I think it was when I walk into Walmart, when I walk into Target, like, oh, oh my goodness.
But
I
it's
guess I gotta start thinking about
anymore, it's earlier and earlier. As soon as the 4th of July is over, they put
yes.
the supplies out in Target, and you're like, "No, no, it's just the 4th of July. It's still summer."
Yeah, give me some time. So, my next question, who do you think is more ready for school to start? The parents or the students?
I think that depends on the kid. If it's a wild kid and a crazy kid, parents can't wait to get him out of the house. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. I totally agree.
But good kids, parents want to keep them home and keep doing those fun things and go to the swimming pool and, you know, take a trip to the park and do all those fun things. And I think, when kids are little, they're excited about school. They love being in school. They can't wait to go back. Yeah, I would even say older kids too, because they can't wait to get back to see their friends. Maybe
I'm
not.
glad you said that because that's my next question. So you have a college age child, your son. So what do you think is more stressful? Your college child going back to school or your young child and why?
That's a good question. And you know what? My best friend told me this, and it is so true. The bigger the kid, the bigger the problem. So, you have different worries. First time parents sending their kid to school, they're worried, they're going to make friends or somebody going to pick on them or they're going to forget their lunch. Will they raise their hand when they need to go to the bathroom? Parents worry about those kinds of things. They're going to cry all day. But, it's part of the growing up process. It's part of growing up. They're not a baby anymore. They got to go to school. And it's hard for parents to let go. But then on this same token, when they go to college, it's hard to let them go as well. But you just have to trust yourself and hope that you raised them right and you instilled all those values. And you have to send them off and let them become independent. You have to let them make their own decisions and learn from their mistakes. And you hope that they make good choices. Of course, they're going to do things that are stupid. We've all done it. They've done it. They're going to do it, but you don't want them to do anything that's going to cause them trouble or get them into trouble. And you just hope that, they make good choices. So
Yeah, I
it's
think you're
it's tough both
right.
ways.
Yeah, I mean, there are challenges and worries, no matter the age of the child. You brought up some really good points about the new child going, some
Mhm.
students are really nervous and scared when they go to school for the first time, and parents are as well, especially first time parents. I have one child left in college, and yeah, the worries are different and the worries are bigger because like you said, you hope that you have done a good job and instilled values and good decision making. They have to be independent or they're not going to survive in college.
That's right.
And they have to get up, they have to get themselves to class, they have to work hard because, everything matters in school. I don't care what grade, people might say, oh, middle school is not. Everything matters, and once you get to college, this is your life. This is your job, your occupation, so it's important that you take things seriously and you work hard because, when you get out and you enter the workforce, there's no one there but you. Even in college, there's no one there but you. As you know, as a parent, we can't call the college and get information about our kids.
No, no.
They have to advocate for themselves.
And you can't call or email the professor and say,
No,
can you
you
get
can not try to
yeah.
get your child exempt from an assignment. So mommy and daddy are not going to sweep in and rescue you. So speaking of first time parents and the anxiety that the kids have, the anxiety also is with the parent. So there are a lot of first year parents out there and they don't know what to expect. What is your best advice that you would give to those new parents?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question because I had three good points. Three good points. First one, independence. It is so important that you teach your child at an early age how to become independent, how to zip their coat, how to raise their hand when they need help. A lot of times kids are so afraid to talk when they first come to school. They may need something and they hold it inside all day. They need to be able to open up and ask the teacher for help or tell them what their problem is or tell them they need to go to the bathroom or else they're going to have an accident, right? We
That's
know that
important.
that always happens. But those independent skills, learning how to use the bathroom, they need to know how. There's nobody going in the bathroom with them. Teachers aren't going to the bathroom, so we need to make sure they know how to go in. You know, do their business by themselves. So that's first thing, independence.
Okay.
We would like them to learn how to tie their shoes, but
Yes.
work on it all year
Hmm.
because one teacher, 24 students can't be tying shoes all day long. Work on it. Uh,
And number three.
well, number two, that was number
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Whoa, you're rushing me. Be
Take your time.
involved. Be involved. Even if they're a working parent, you can still be part of your child's education and help them. For instance, empty their folder every single day. Now, I get you're going to forget some night. You're busy, you're rushing, you have plans, get the kid off the bus, got to go somewhere, go out to dinner, whatever, come home, do your bathroom, night routine to go to bed. On occasion, it happens. But when you're that one student that comes every day and all of a sudden the week's worth of work is stacked up like this, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're basically telling your child that school is not important, right? So there's always information in there, not just homework, but maybe things to practice, or maybe there's a certain day coming up, like, oh, Thursday's going to be movie and popcorn day because we've earned this many whatever stars. You want your child to be the only one that comes to school who's not wearing pajamas, right?
That's the one. There's
So, like, you gotta empty the folder. You gotta stay on top of things. Talk to your child. Ask them about their day. Be involved with school. So that's my second big thing. And the third big thing that I preach about this all the time:
oh my God.
cut the screens. Cut the screens. Even when you're out in public, it's so easy for parents to want to fix things
Hmm.
fast. They don't want their child misbehaving in a restaurant. So what do? They give them their phone, they give them an iPad to entertain them. No, teach your child how to sit there and behave. If they're bored, that's okay. Kids need to learn how to be bored. They do, because not everything is fun. Not everything in life is going to be fun and always
My class is fun.
instant gratification. Well, I'm sure your class is fun. But
Everything in my
I'm
class.
just, there's times when you might be bored as an adult. You go and you sit and you might be in a doctor's office where it says no cell phones allowed. And you got to
Mhm.
sit and wait for an hour and a half. You need to learn how to do that. You need to learn to be patient, and not everything is instant gratification. So, you know,
Those are your top
easy
three.
easy fix for kids is just put them on a screen, and I think that is the most harmful thing for them to do. Get them off the
Absolutely.
screens.
Yeah,
So,
so
yes.
today in class, we're talking about the importance of cleaning up and, being responsible and taking care of your belongings. And I asked the kids, I said, Raise your hand if your parents have you clean up your room, the playroom, or whatever games that you play." And I had one student was like, "No, I don't clean up anything." And then one little girl goes, "Well, my room gets really messy. So my, my parents they help me, so we do it together." I said, "That's fine, I understand." So I went back to that child who, said that they don't do anything. Through a little bit of prodding, she's like, "Well, sometimes." So that worried me. To me, that says to me,
Yeah.
you have no responsibilities at your house.
Mm,
Everyone's doing everything for you. That does not help them, and the longer that habit is there or, persists, the worse it's gonna be. So I'm like, take care of your stuff. This is like my home. My classroom's like my home. And then a student thought I lived there. I said, "No, I don't live here." I said, "But I take care of it like it's my home. And I want it to be neat and organized. And I want everyone to take care of my supplies and put things back when they're done." So, my next question, you actually touched upon most of it. I just talked about important skills coming into kindergarten. Um, you know, I think talking to your child is huge, being
Oops.
able to them to be like, get out of their shell. And I know that there are some students that are shy. I get it. But sometimes I think maybe uh, a single child in the household or whatever, and they're always around grown-ups. If that's the case, then you need to sign them up for sports teams, organize some play dates, something like that, so that they are around children. They learn how to share. They learn how to be kind.
Absolutely.
The sharing, the whole teamwork thing.
Yep. They need to learn manners. It goes a long way, even, 5-year-old, when they say please and thank you. I mean, it's need to learn manners and not just interrupt and say, Hey, I need to go to the bathroom. No, 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 no. Use your
And
manners.
I see and I when I see this some of the students come in and they greet me and they use their manners, please and thank you and goodbye and all the different things that they say, you can tell um, that they've been taught this. Is their families value the importance of communication and respect.
I always tell parents when I would sit down with them at conferences, I would say, parents or teachers first. So you are the one that they look up to, and you have to be in charge.
Mhm.
You have to teach them how to behave when they come to school, their responsibilities. You can't make excuses for them.
That's a biggie.
You have to teach them how to behave or how to act when they come to school. So, that's important. You asked me a couple other things about what they need to know. So, besides the manners and the independent skills, believe it or not, it is important to teach your child about how to hold a pencil. My goodness. In the last few years, I've had kids hold a pencil like this.
Stabbing.
Yes, pointer on the top, thumb on the side. Throw your other fingers in. Slide, slide, slide. So
Nice.
like a little triangle. That's how you hold. Important thing parents can do: show them how to use scissors. I've had so many kids in the last couple of years. Where were we going? Holding the scissors, like pointing the blades
Towards
toward you. No. Mm-mm. Away. You cut. Open, shut. Open, shut.
And with those scissors, I think some parents, they are nervous that their child is going to cut themselves or cut something else. So they don't even allow them to use scissors. Well, guess what? Just teach them the proper way and then guide them. And you
Yes.
can do like, draw a line, draw a squiggle line, have them cut out a square.
Right. Give them a piece of paper. Have them practice cutting. Open, shut, open, shut. That's the way we cut, cut, cut.
And then blunt, get the blunt tip scissors. Don't get the pointy scissors. That's the first type of scissor that those kids should be using anyway. I mean, if your child doesn't go to preschool, you have more work to do at home because preschools these days, they are more academic.
Yes.
Maybe not, nonstop academics. They do obviously play, but if you are not sending your child to preschool, now you have some extra work to do because they should be working on letters and numbers and it doesn't have to be, okay, come on, Johnny, we're going to sit down and we're going to count to 10. And you do it through play. They don't even realize they're
Right.
working on different skills.
Right.
You talk about how many you're eating dinner. How many French fries do you have left? I mean, you just work it into conversation and play, and they
Right.
don't realize that they are learning and playing at the same time.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
So separation.
Oh,
This is a biggie. We touched upon it earlier a little bit, but it can be an issue for both the parent and the child because if it is a first time parent and the child did not go to preschool, this is very difficult.
oh, it's
And
difficult.
them letting that child get on the bus and go to school as opposed to driving them is a huge step, but something you have to do. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Do not drive your child to school. Put them on a bus. And the last few years, I don't think they had it when you were there, Tam, but there's these apps called Dojo and Seesaw. So it's like you can invite your class, and it's like a social communication between you and your families. And so it would be a good way to send them a quick, instant message. When you wanted to get it, word out like, "Hey, they forgot their lunch. Are you able to drop it off, or should I have them buy their lunch today?" Quick message. Anyway, parents would email me and say, "Oh, we had such a rough morning. She didn't want to leave, and I had to go to work, and I'm so upset." And I would take a picture. She's fine. Send it off. You're upset and worried about it, but the minute she walked in the door, the tears stopped. Once she
Yeah.
saw her friends and saw, "Oh, we're going to do this today. We're going to paint," they forget about it and they're fine. The kids tug on their parents. They tug on those heartstrings, and it is harder for the parents than the kids. Now, on occasion, there are some kids that, like you said, they never went to preschool and maybe were attached because mom was a stay at home mom or worked from home. They might cry a little bit longer. It might take a little longer, but eventually it will stop. You cannot feed into it. You have to say to your child, talk to them, not baby talk. You're a big girl now, or you're a big boy now. You're in school. It's okay to miss mom, but I'll be here when you get off the school bus, or I'll be here when you get home, and everything's fine. You're a big girl now. You just have to keep saying that. You can't, you know, fall into that trap, and let the kids upset you. You just
Yeah,
have to be this strong.
kids are
You have to be
resilient.
this. Yes, they are.
They're very resilient, and you have to give them more credit. They might be a little upset. Granted, we understand that everyone's upset for that first time. They're excited and upset. Try to hold back those tears as a parent, and as soon as they get on the bus, go back in the house and grab your Kleenex if you have to. This is a funny true story, and this was many many years ago. So my mother's friend was having a terrible time separating putting her daughter on the bus. Actually, she might have even dropped her off, but this the funny part's coming. So she was on kindergarten and it was the ground floor. And after her daughter separated from her, she went around the back of the building and she was so true. She was looking through the classroom window to see how her daughter was doing, tears running down her face. I believe it was Holly's classroom, and the teacher, I can't remember who the teacher was at the time, kinda, like, shooed the mother off and put but well, that's what I'm saying. Now, how hard would that be for that child to be in the classroom, look out the window, there's mommy crying, looking in the classroom window, and and the daughter she's fine. She's getting to work. And believe it or not, parents, these teachers, most of them are parents too. And even if they aren't a parent, you have children, you're in education for a reason.
Mhm.
And you have a super heart. And you are a very, very caring person. And you treat those children as if they're your own. And one of
Exactly.
the days a kid said to me, "How many kids do you have?" And I was like, 25, and they were like, 25. I have my 3 and I have and there are 22 of you. So, like, literally, those kids are my kids. Something happens to them, they get hurt on the playground, they come into school sad. We don't just say, "Okay, go sit down." We have to start, learning. We take time out in our day to make sure they are okay. So
Right.
when that child comes down the hall crying,
Yep.
we're there. We're there to help them, to comfort them.
Clean
Yeah,
off their boo-boo, get out a Band-Aid, put it on, give them a little
yeah.
kiss.
That's
Yep.
part of our job, and I don't even consider it a job. It's just like
It's
it
instinct.
just comes natural.
It
It
does.
totally comes natural. I talked about independence and responsibilities. We touched upon that. Last thing, and I'm but maybe I have 2 things. But one question, what are some ways parents can help the teacher to ensure a successful first year of school? Now, one you said talking about how was your day, emptying the folder.
Communication is the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing between teacher and parent, communication. Even like when you said about, the separation thing with the school bus. Even if there's something simple as shoot a quick message, quick email, hey, just wanted to let you know we had to put our cat down.
Mm,
So and so might be sad. If a parent doesn't tell you that, and then the kid comes in and normally maybe a, a good student who's fine and no issues with crying or anything might be crying all day, and you're like, what is going on? Why is this child not working? Why are they laying with their head down? It helps to know when things happen, because
mhm.
then you look at them differently and you're not yelling like, okay, get your head off the table, do your work, make sure you go to bed on time. Look at it in a different way because you feel for them. It helps to know, so you have to communicate with the teacher. You can't just send your kid to school when things are going on at home and expect them to figure out, or expect them to
And
go
it's
do
not
their
it's not
thing.
being nosy. It's just, I care something, this child's acting differently. Is there a reason? Sometimes the child will open up and tell you what's going on. My cat died, grandma's in the hospital, whatever. And it's only to make sure the kid is okay, the student is
Right.
okay. That's the only
Mhm.
reason we would
Might
want
give them
that
a little
extra.
bit extra attention and, maybe say, do you want to be my helper today? Or, just kind of a little bit of a distraction, or give them an extra hug. It's like, how's it going? How's the day going? Whatever. Enjoy your lunch, just a little bit of extra attention. It goes a long way when you know. So
And
it
kids
helps. It helps when communication is a big thing. Big thing between, I mean, far as the child's success.
And kids know when you care. Kids, they sense, you might think, oh, they don't know. The kids know in kindergarten
They do.
that these teachers care about them. I mean, they just sense it. So when you are genuine. They know it. You can't fake anything with children because they sense something is off. And when they know you care, they respect you and you get more out of them because they know you are there for them. You might be tough on them, but there are some students that want that structure. They don't have that structure at home. Maybe
Uh,
those kids that don't have to clean up after themselves, but I hold them accountable and I say, in my classroom, you will clean up after yourself. You will share. You will be kind to others. And then they appreciate it. They might, they're 5 years, 6 years old, 7, 8. They don't, maybe they can't verbalize that, but they appreciate that structure and they conform to like, this is how it's supposed to be in class and this is how I'm supposed to treat others. And I think that the communication that you said with the parents, that is probably the biggest thing, to be on the same page. Teacher not upsetting the parent, parents not talking poorly about the teacher at home, because that can come back into the classroom. Well, my mom said that and it happens. We've all been there where a kid has said, my mom said that you shouldn't or you can't or whatever. If you have a disagreement with a teacher, that's something you need to discuss with the teacher because you need to be on the same page. I don't know what you think about that and how you would handle that, but that has happened where
Absolutely.
parents have talked poorly about the teacher and then, the kids start, acting a
It's
little bit differently.
it's terrible because then how does the child respect you? If the parents not respecting you, how does the child respect you? And you have to think like, you're sending your child off to school and they're with that teacher all day long, teaching them. They're growing because of this teacher. Perhaps, it might be a little bit of personality conflict, but you got to respect their decision because they're the one that's in charge of your child all day. So you have to respect them. You have to respect their decisions.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like your spouse. You don't always
Mm,
see eye to eye. There are times when you would do things a little bit differently. But if that's the case and you think that things should be done a little differently, reach out to the teacher and have that discussion and ask, why do you think we should do it this way? Is there a better way to do it? I've done it this way. Is that like not the best way to go about it? But you have those discussions, you get on the same page because ultimately you're both there for the child
that's right.
and you want to be on the same page and joining forces is only going to help things in the long run. Did you have any other comments? Because you have done a fabulous job and I think you've given great insight from a parent's point of view,
Mhm.
from a teacher's point of view.
Well, I
I
hope you
think that
give
you
some people some wonderful advice so they know how to, start the year.
yeah, I mean, this is huge because it's really important. Kindergarten, that's it. You have a lot more years to go and you want to hit the ground running and you want to have a very successful school experience and it all starts with that kindergarten teacher. So, I would like to wrap this up and thank you for joining Suzanne and
Suzanne,
I on Listen Up, It's My Turn. She's going to enjoy many more days off because, like I said, she is now retired and she's going to be on the golf course with her
yes, I
children.
will.
All right. Thanks, Suzanne. And
For happy hour.
what's that?
I'll see you for happy hour.
Sure. Catch me next time because it is Steeler football season.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.